as a black person. You understand? Yeah. And when I say black person, basically we're looking at a translation of our very first identity. You can go back over 4,200 years to find us calling ourselves black people. But the term at that time was Kim for one single black man, and Kemet for one single black woman, and then Kemetiu for black people plural. And when you go to the pyramid text of Nesubiti Pepi, this is exactly where you'll find that it says that you stand like the Apis bull at the forefront of the Kemetiu, right? The Apis bull was a black bull that had certain sacred markings on it, and it said that you're like that black bull in front of all the other black people, right? Kemetiu. And at the same time, you had individuals who are calling themselves Hepi Kim, Hepi the black, and Henenit Kim, Henenit the black. And even the origin of the word chemistry, it comes from that exact same word in Medu Neter, the very first writing system ever, Kim, and it means that which is black. And the symbol that was used to write it was a piece of burnt charcoal. And basically what it was referring to is the chemical reaction that takes place when something catches fire. So an unburnt piece of wood versus a burnt piece of wood, there's been some type of chemical reaction. But the reason why we even say chemical and chemistry and anything that has chem in it is because of that original word which translates to black.
So the original word is chemic, and it was translated into black. So basically we are not blacks, we are chemic.
Chem is the best word that we should use, and that's why all the time that we're trying to get people to understand what our languages are saying, because as long as we're translating into the languages of our colonial enemies, you know, we're going to be behind the 8 ball, so to speak.
Wow. It's another blow, because I think most of us, or most of viewers, don't even know no, I don't know. I have no idea about that. Black has another name of Kemet or something like that. I only know that black. And if I say it in the tree, I will say Obibini. You know what I mean? Yeah, Obibini. So black, we are saying black. The only thing sometimes I think about it, but they say black. I am not black. That one, I do think about it very much all the time, but I haven't had any opportunity to ask anyone. And today, I'm going to ask you. I'm not black, because if I say black, I will say my trousers is black. This one I have here is black. This phone, the cover here is black. But if you put it on my body, I'm not black. But they call me black. And I have accepted, and I also call my brothers black. And if I'm outside the country, I say black people. I say black man. I'm a black man. Why?
So first off, it's because we're translating the initial concept of Kim and Kemet, right, which translates as black men and black women. But more so, when we look at our objective in life is to become like Usir. Usir is the first archetype of the death and resurrection of the Savior. And once we pass on, then we become, what would happen is that our name would be prefixed with Usir. So if your name is Kwame, you'll become Usir Kwame, right? I'll become Usir Obadele, Usir, so forth and so on. And basically Usir, the Mrane, this is like the praise name of Usir, was Kem Ur, the great black.
The Kem Ur,
yeah. Kem Ur, the great black. And basically the idea is that once you strive towards the 42...
I don't want to stop you there. So the Ua is the great.
Great.
Okay.
Right.
Kem.
And then the Kem is the black.
So Kem Ua, the great black.
Okay. Exactly. So as far as that goes, basically the idea is that everyone is striving to eventually become like Usir, who's depicted as blacker than 1,000 midnights. You understand? So once you go through the dua and you say the 42 declarations of innocence that says, I have not stolen, I have not worked evil, I have not cursed the ruler, I have not done. So these are the 42 declarations of innocence, of which, you know, in the Bible they could only do 10. So they did it as thou shalt not. But that's where they actually plagiarized it from in the first place. It's from the 42 declarations, you understand? So you can find that in the Peret Imheru, all 42 of them. And you'll find the different versions, because each person would come up with the 42 things that they have not done specific to them. So if you read the 42 declarations of Imahu Ani, it's going to be different from that of Imahu Hunefer, and it's going to be different from that of Nu, Imahu Nu. So each person says the 42 things that they have not done. And those are the things that qualify them in order to become Usia this and Usia that. You understand? So their heart is actually weighed on the scale of Ma'at. So with this scale, is that if you are speaking truthfully, then your heart will be lighter than an ostrich feather. There are some ostriches down here. I don't know if you saw them on the way coming. If you speak truthfully, then your heart will be lighter than an ostrich feather. But if you're lying and you say, "I've not done this," every single time you lie, every single
your
time,
heart becomes heavy.
Amit would be the one who would actually, devour that heart, right? So all of this idea of judgment day, judgment after death, that's where all of these other religions plagiarized. That's where they stole that idea from, because all of these things you can find them in the pyramid text over 4,000 years ago, right? Starting with the pyramid text of Nesu-Biti Wenis. You can go to the pyramid text of Nesu-Biti Teti and see the same thing. You can go to that of Nesu-Biti Pepi Merenre. You can go to all of these different pyramid texts and actually read where that idea of Judgment Day comes from, and read where they got the original 10 Commandments from, where they got the idea of death and resurrection of the Savior from. All of those are carved in stone, and you can go and see them to this day. But you have to even know that they exist before you can say, well, now let me go and read them. But for those who are interested, you can read them in translation. If you just type in pyramid text online, you'll be able to read all of them from beginning to end, and then you'll see where that death and resurrection of the Savior comes from. You can see where all of those concepts come from. But this is the origin of that idea of blackness, right? What we're translating as blackness, which is really coming from the word Kem. Again, that first over 4,200 years in those exact same pyramid texts that we're talking about is where you said Kemetiu. We were referring to all the people as Kemetiu. And then you also go to Sarah, Pepi, and then you'll also see individuals who, during his reign, you'll find people who are calling themselves Kem this and Kem that. Females calling themselves Kemet this and Kemet that. You understand? So that's the origin.
So Kemet this, let me say, black this.
So exactly. So as we are conceptualizing ourselves, we always referred to ourselves as Kem and Kemet, which is translated as black man, black woman. And then you can find that, so that's in classical times, over 4,000 years ago. But then in contemporary times, you can find the same thing, because when you say Obibini, the BB inside of that translates to the blackness. So when you say Jabidie, that B, so that Jabidie, the B inside of it is coming from the black. When you say Abibidro, that BB inside of that is coming from the black. We say Kwaibibrim. That's again coming to the blackness of that space. You understand? So all of those ideas are related to blackness. Now, if you go to the Songhai language, spoken in Mali, you have modern day Mali, right? So the classical kingdoms, you had Ouagadougou, which people incorrectly call Ghana. That's where this nation is named incorrectly, because the original nation's name was Ouagadougou. Ouagadougou, right? It translates to land of herds. So you have herds of cattle.
But we have Ouagadougou.
So that's different, and it's a different language, right? So that's Morde language. It sounds similar, but it's a different language. That's Morde language. This one is Sarakole, of Soninke, right? So you had Ouagadougou, that was the original name. But you had an Arab named Al-Khwarizmi, who actually never traveled there, but in his documentation, he wrote about the ruler, who was known as Ghana. So it's not a G sound either. People in the country called Ghana, they actually can't even pronounce it right, but the GH is a R sound, R. And if you go to places where they have that in the language, they'll actually pronounce it correctly. So you go to Egypt, they'll say, oh, you're coming from Ghana. But here, because you don't have it in your language anymore, now when people say it, they just replace it with a G. Ghana.
So it's Hana. Hana. So what that word is it what that alphabet? Is it which alphabet?
It would be an X. So if you go to Wolof, they have that sound, right? Wolof spoken in Senegal. That's where you get your Jollof rice come. Right?
Senegal,
so when they say Jollof,
Gambia,
that's the Jollof Empire, right? The classical empire around those times. So I'm coming to a point. So you have Ouagadougou, you had Nyani, and Nyani is the original name for what they now call Mali.
Nyani.
Right, Nyani, right? And that's still located in modern day Guinea-Conakry, right? That was the capital, and then that's what, by extension, became the name of the nation. But people call it Mali because those people were Malinke people. And then you come to Gao, right? Songhai Empire. So in the Songhai language, they have the exact same word, Bibi, and it translates to black, right, in English. And not only that, anytime they want to say something is powerful, they use that word as the adjective to mean powerful. So they say Wanye Bibi, that means the black sun. that they're looking at the sun, they know it's not the color black, but that's the very way that you say that the sun is powerful right now. When they want to say that it's pure water, right? This water is pure. Yeah. They're looking at the water and they know it's not the color of your phone or your trousers, but they'll say, Hari Bibi, I know Hari Bibi, give me the black water. And that means the most pure water that you can conceive of. When they want to say that the ground is fertile, they'll say Sadiza Bibi, and that means the black soil. So no matter what the color of the soil is, if it is asasebre or asasebidie, then they will say that this is the black soil, right? So basically, when you call yourself black, the idea is that you're powerful, that you're pure, that you're fertile. So all of those concepts are, ensconced. They're inherent in the concept of blackness. Now, so that's the Songha language. When you look at Yoruba, we also call ourselves what translates into English as black people, right? So we call ourselves Adulawa. Oh, it's an O sound. So it comes from Dudu, which is the word for black. Ni, inside of our color. And then the A prefix makes it a human being. So Adulawa is the one who is black in color. And the way we conceive of this land that we're on right now is Ile. Adulawa, the land of those who are black in color. If you go to the Bambara language called Bamanakan, which is spoken in modern day country of Mali, and again we know that Mali is coming from Malinke people. The original was Nyani. But if you go there, you'll find that in the language of Bamanakan, they say Farafin, which translates into English as a black person. Farafin. And then the way that we refer to this land is Farafina, which is land of black people. It comes from La, which is a locative, right? So when you want to deal with location, you add La to the end of it, then it becomes Farafin La. But then because of what's called homoorganic nasal assimilation, the La becomes an N, and becomes Farafina. So Farafina is the land of black people. Then if you go to Igbo, the Igbo language, spoken in southeastern Nigeria.
This is interesting, guys.
Right? Good.
Yeah.
So you have Ndisioji. Ndisioji, and it translates to black people, and the way that they conceive of this land is Allah Ndisioji, the land, literally the land of the blackheads, but by extension saying black people, right? If you go to Senegal, they have what's called Nit Kunyul, which is a black person. Nit is human being. It's the same as the ni at the end of chi when you say Obibini, Asantini, Ghana ni. Their nit, it refers to human being, and Yoruba's en ni. So all of that ni.
So basically all of them are the same.
They're coming from the original source language. They're all, you could think of it as a river, and then as a river gets towards a delta, it breaks off into various rivulets, right? That's what's going on. It's ultimately one river, but then you have different branches of the river. Now what our colonial enemies do is they tell us to focus on the teeny tiny branch instead of focus on the fact that it's all one body of water. You understand? So, again, if you look at that, you have Reu Nit Kunyul, that's the land of those who are black. Reu is land, Nit is human being, Ku is the genitive, the indirect genitive expressing possession, and then Nyul is black, right? What we translate into English as black. If you go to Kikongo, this is now spoken in Congo, of course, where else? Then you have Ndombe, and Ndombe is a word for black, right? When you talk about a single black person, Ndombe. And then if you're talking plural, Bandombe. So it's black people, it translates to black people. Then if you want to refer to this continent that we're on right now, we'll call it Nsia Bandombe, which is the land of black people.
Nsia Bandombe. In Congo's language. Is it Zaire, Congo Zaire? Or
it's what used to be called Zaire, DRC, Congo, right? But then even if you go to non-African languages, you have languages like Arabic. They'll say Bilad as-Sudan, which is like the land of the black people. So where we get Sudan and South Sudan is coming from the Arabic language. So these Arabs who are invaders onto the continent in their own language are saying that this is the land of black people. But they ask, well, then what's your Arab self doing here?
What are you doing here? Because
your language itself is telling you that this land is land for black people. If you go to the Greek language, this is where they get ithi, ops, where the ithi is referring to burnt, and then ops is literally eyes. But by extension, face is like chi, ani, anim. And Yoruba, Oju is literally eyes, but Oju is also by extension face. So that's where you get, land of those of the burnt face, right? So that's where you get Ethiopia coming from. And then if you look even at Latin, right? So we looked at Arabic, Greek. Then if you look at Latin, Niger. This is where you get the origin of Negro, and all the other terms are coming from this word which relates to blackness. And that's also where you get Niger, Nigeria, all of those other terms are coming from that as well.
And all those,
so all of those that have the N-I-G, N-E-G-R-O, all of those are coming from the exact same source. So